you ready? Closing week? I don't know if I'm ready. Let me take a sip. All right, so it is closing week for the year. I can just be done. No. Okay, so there's so much to unpack here. First, before I actually get into it, I want to recap what a rose ceremony is and the kind of tradition in Waldorf education and Waldorf schools, and what that is. So before I actually get into the story, before I spoil anything, before I get into anything, I'm just gonna give you some context of what a rose ceremony is, because you'll see this kind of woven throughout this week. So a rose ceremony is inspired by a ceremony that is done in actual Waldorf schools. And it is a really sweet ceremony that honors the moving up child, specifically from kindergarten to first grade. And this can be done in many ways, but typically in Waldorf schools, they have one grades teacher that will take one class from first grade to 8th grade. So it is an 8-year journey with that teacher in that class. And instead of a typical graduation ceremony, like in May, Waldorf schools typically do this rose ceremony at the end of summer or the beginning of the school year to honor those moving up children. And what they'll do is they'll have the child start with a rose and take it to and give it to their new teacher who they're going to spend the next 8 years with. And it's a really, really precious way to kind of honor that relationship. Of course, you can, oh, someone said we have technical difficulties now. Pause, are we good, everyone? I want to make sure, several people are typing. I want to make sure we're good. I don't know if that's just Carrie or if, no, it's a joke, okay. Okay, oh, I see, are you getting blurry vision? Don't do that to me. Okay, we're good. Okay, so back to it. I see you're crying and the screen is blurry. Anyway, so you can honor it that way, it's okay. Or we've done here in our photos that you'll see, you can honor the child by having them start and walk across a bridge and receive their rose and their little certificate. So it is similar to a graduation ceremony, a moving up ceremony, etc. So that is what a rose ceremony is, and that's just some context. All right, so are you ready? My heart's beating. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get into the story. So are we ready for I know some of you have probably read ahead, but I'm going to just let you all know what is going to happen in the story. Petipom is getting ready to leave the garden, okay? So the time has come for our young gnome to go off on his journey beyond the garden and to depart and to begin his coming of age journey to grow into his beard. So we will be saying goodbye to our dear young friend, Petipom, in this story. So it is an emotional one, but there's a lot of reasons for this in this story, okay? So this is here at the end of this year because, of course, our children don't stay in the garden forever, do they? And we cherish their time in the garden, but there comes a time where we have to let them grow and support them as they begin to step beyond the garden and to see the world around them and to see what is out there. And the chat is quiet. I know, I've noticed. And so this is what the story is honoring, right? Because we know as much as we want to keep our children in our homes, in our garden, in early childhood where everything is safe and protected, there does come a time where it becomes necessary for them to begin to step out and to grow up. And so this story is really written to honor that transition. And it is written to just make space for this transition, especially if you have a child who's moving up from early childhood to first grade, or if you even have older siblings or older children. You know, graduations happen, weddings happen, our children are gonna grow and move on. And that is a part of life. And it's hard, but it's important. And so that is what we have happening here, where Petipom, of course, has been our young chipper gnome, our beardless gnome. But within this little world, if you got hints back in winter, you heard that Puddle Bloom went on a journey and grew into his beard on Winter's Peak. So it is time for Petipom to leave the garden and begin his journey to Winter's Peak to be able to grow into his beard. I know. So, okay, so this is big. Now, I want to process this a little with you all, because this story is really written for the child who's transitioning, okay? Who's ready for a move up, who this story will make sense to, or for children who are seeing their older siblings beginning to move up and move on. Now, if you are newer to us this summer, or if you still have younger children, like 2 to 3, or even, just think about your child and where they are in your life, and you might skip this story this year, okay? I'm gonna give you permission. This story is a more mature story because it is stepping towards that transition out of the garden. So if your child is still in the garden, they're staying here, then you can end on Beach Week, because that has closure. We end with summer goodbye. There's goodbye to the season. We know the fairies will leave in autumn. We know things are going to be different, but we can stay there. And that story gives us closure, okay? So if you think that this is going to be too heavy for your child, or if they're just not ready for this concept yet, you can end on Beach Week, take a week off, and start again in Bread Week, and you'll be so excited. I do have some tips how you could integrate some details in the end of this story, if you and how these stories will connect, okay? But if your child is moving up and is moving on, or if you have older siblings in your family who are moving up and on, then you can use this story to support those things, okay? So, yes, you have permission to skip the story if it doesn't suit your family this year, absolutely, because this is just a more mature concept. This is meant to be the first kind of step towards just more maturity, okay? This is not the same level of kind of innocence as the rest of our stories that are kept within the garden. So if you're like, that is too much for my kid, they're 2, they're 3, or if you just started with us this summer and it's like, I'm still just getting to know these people, these characters and these fairies and these gnomes, you can wait. Spend another year in the garden and use this story when it makes sense for your child and your family. This beard won't grow itself. So keep that in mind, okay? Now, there are some details that I don't want to spoil, okay, at the very end of this story that are the bridge that bring it back around, that is going to make it so sweet and so special for you to start back around into Bread Week, because these stories are meant to loop, okay? So I'm not going to give this one away because I want you to experience this yourself, either reading it or listening to it, okay? So there's one more detail at the very end of the story that that's yours and your experience. I'm not going to spoil that part, okay? So, but that is the part that is going to make your jaw drop, and just like, it's gonna change everything for you and make you so excited to start again. And also remember, when you start again, Petipom's coming back in Apple Week. It's only 1 week that he's gone, right? Okay? So what it does is it'll make your experience going back through the year again so incredibly special, and it'll give you such a new perspective on reliving these stories, okay? So if you want to read it yourself. Now, if you are planning to skip this story, I might still recommend on very bottom of page 508, you could fudge a few words and take a few details out and read your child the very last piece that, again, I'm not going to spoil. But if you want to bring that bridge in from summer goodbye to the next week, you can, or you could wait completely. But the last, the end of page 508 and page 509 is just brilliant, and it will change everything for you, and it'll truly make you so excited to start over, and it'll make going through the year so incredibly special. But I'm gonna let you experience that yourself, okay? And you could still wait till the audiobook comes out until you hear it. So you can take all of this, chew on it, read ahead if you want, and figure out what's gonna be best for your children at this age and this year, knowing that if you need to just loop and not even touch this last story for a few years, you can do that. If you're ready to tackle it, it'll bring up some questions. There'll be a lot to talk through. And even with the songs, it's just something that we do want to honor, because this is a part of life. And we would be delusional if we thought that we could just stay in the garden forever with our children, as much as we wish we could. But this is something that your children are going to experience either firsthand this year, or seeing older siblings, and eventually they'll get that itch to move up and move on, all right? So, big spoilers out, Petipom is growing up, he's gonna leave, but there's still that one piece that I'm gonna leave for you at the very end of the story that's gonna really tie it together, and it is really, really special, okay? So I'm gonna go through now kind of my typical, I'm gonna go through songs, I'm gonna go through lessons, and then I'm gonna go into kind of what's next, okay? Because I'm sure you're also now like, wait, what's next? He's leaving, right? Okay, so our first song is The Mountain Calls. This is a fairly mature song in the context of our little early childhood space, right? The yearning in this song I believe belongs on Broadway, just belting it out, because this is where Petipom is really beginning to feel that call of, he doesn't really want to leave home, but he kind of knows he needs to, and he's realizing that he needs to go beyond and go see what is out there, and grow up in a way that he can't do in the garden. And so this song is just that yearning. It's that song that he's realizing that it's time, okay? And then he talks with Eliza, and she kind of encourages him. There are these friends who've become such close friends, and she tells him when she had to jump out of the nest, and now she can fly. And then he realizes that it is time, and he goes and speaks with Puddle Bloom, and they realize, oh my goodness, it's time, okay? Then we have part 2 of the story. So the audiobook finale will be released in 2 parts. Part 2 of the story where this ceremony is beginning, and they're going to send him off. And we have this scene of the Rose Ceremony, and that's where you get the song, The Day Is Here. Now, The Day Is Here is a tearjerker of a procession. This is graduation song at its best. It could be graduation vibes, it could be eventually wedding vibes if you want it to be that. It is just procession of, this is a ceremony where we're honoring the moving up and moving on, okay? And so they all gather around Petipom, but Petipom doesn't want to go alone, and so there is the sweet moment where Petipom and Eliza are going to go together. She's going to join him as his friend, still just friends, guys, as his friend, and they are going to commit to support each other as they go off beyond the garden together. And so all the gnomes and fairies are coming along Petipom, ready to send him off. This song will make you weep, especially if you try singing it to your little one. And then the last song is goodbye. Okay. There's one little word change, and if you've heard it on the Songs of Summer album, it's just, now we say goodbye. I'm not gonna read it because I'll cry, but we end with goodbye, okay? And then I'll let you read the last part of the story and how it wraps up. But then we have said goodbye to Petipom, okay? Read the last part of the story or listen to the last part of the story, and you'll be so excited to come back around to Bread Week and do this all again and stay in the garden just a little longer. And what I love that this does as parents is that this reminds us that our children won't be staying in the garden forever. But if we still have littles, then we get to soak it in. We're still here. We still get to stay in the garden at least one more year. We still get to enjoy this, and it lets us savor it in a special way as we've just seen Petipom leave and then just realize, oh, I get to start back at Bread Week. I get to go back to Apple Week and sing the apples are ripe and make apple cake with Petipom, because we're not moving on just yet. And so if you still have little ones, coming back around, I think will be so, so special, okay? So I'm going to go through lessons, and then I'm gonna touch on kind of what's next, okay? I have some questions here. I have one more time in the garden this year, I know. Okay, I'm gonna get to questions more at the end because I do wanna make sure I get through all of these things. Okay, so our lessons are still a lot of fun, things this week. We're gonna start with bubbles, our last just free bubble time of the season. Use up those last bubbles. Our main lesson is these sunflower window stars. These are really beautiful because the mountain calls. Petipom is sitting up on a sunflower and watching the sunrise. And so the sunflowers, of course, those just beautiful, beautiful. And how do we balance a grade 1 person graduating but a small brother circling? Read the end. Read the end. It'll work perfectly, I promise you. Or wait till read the end until you hear the story. Your choice, but I promise you it will all go beautifully, okay? And I'll get to more like what's next in a little bit, okay? So sunflower window stars, kite paper, and window crayons come together to create these beautiful window sunflowers. So you're gonna fold your kite paper in the same way you fold a star, and you can essentially make 2 8-point stars. You can do 2 of the same color or 2 of different colors and then just align them slightly off like this. Fold one of the dark pieces, it's kind of that blackish brown, tape it in the middle, and then stick it to your wall or stick it to your window, and it's beautiful. And then let your children color the stems and the leaves with those window crayons, and it is just, they're really, really beautiful. Especially that late summer sun coming through, they're just gorgeous, okay? Then day 2, morning activity is gonna be sunset painting. I know it's not technically painting day, but of course we're kind of shuffling things because this is our ceremony week. So you're gonna prepare your paper for wet on wet, and you're just gonna paint this beautiful gradient, starting from yellow and painting from warm to cool to create this beautiful sunset. And then you can either do 2 things. If you have construction paper like black or brown, you can have your child cut out little shapes, or if you don't have that, you can just paint a piece of watercolor black and then do the same thing, cut out those shapes, and then once everything is dry, you can tape these on and you get this beautiful little silhouette sunset effect on this. That again, just kind of sunset, kind of closure of summer, right? And then we have one of my favorite recipes. This is my signature recipe, Fruits of the Garden pie. It has all the berries plus apple and rhubarb. It is delicious. And you have my pie crust recipe, which might be familiar to some of you from autumn. You have that here again, and the gluten-free version. And then Fruits of the Garden pie. This is my one of my signature pies that I usually make every year in the summertime. It has strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, apple, and rhubarb, and it is just absolutely delicious. I have some tips here. If you want to, you can either do kind of a looser tartar pie or a sweeter, firmer pie. So there's some options here as far as quantities of sugar and starch there, but it is so yummy. Some dietary swaps for you. And then our final day for day 3 of closing week is our rose ceremony. So in the morning activity, this can be whatever you want it to be. This is prepare however you want. You can put a silk around their neck, put a crown on their head, pick some roses. I do have a ceremony certificate, free printable that you can scan here, or it is also in our community in the additional resources tab. It's a PDF that you can find and print, fill out their name. You can use that as you wish. So prepare for your day however you want. And then main lesson is a rose ceremony. Now I know some of you might have swapped to do this in late spring, so this is just your last day to do whatever you want with. Or if you are skipping this week, you might just still be on beach week, but just savor the closing of a beautiful season, and especially if you've been here through the whole year, a beautiful, beautiful year. Yes, you can also do the fruit festival twice if you want. Okay. And then the last page after this is gonna make you cry because it's the goodbye song. Okay, so we've processed a lot, but I'm not gonna leave you hanging here, right? Because Petipom's leaving, what now, right? So I assure you that while this is the end, in a way, this is also just the beginning, okay? So I'm gonna tell details on 2 things here. First, I know we have some practical questions about, well, what about like grades curriculum and how this affects that, okay? So in grades curriculum, you'll kind of be following Hamilton in learning how to read and write through the year. So he will be recalling his time back in spring or back in summer when the fairies and the gnomes were teaching him to read and write and do math. And so you'll get to recall these stories in that way. So the grades curriculum will still tie back to the original storyline, and you won't really notice that anyone's gone because most of it is him recalling, oh, back in the spring, Pearl taught me this, you know, and those stories are still very loose. It's a test group, and Nathaniel hasn't really gotten in there to put his touch on those, and Rachel has done a great job drafting those. But that's kind of the idea of part of the grades curriculum, is especially first grade, is that you're learning to read and write with Hamilton as your children are learning to read and write. Okay, so that's kind of my first, you know, practical detail for grades, that you'll be able to use that curriculum without a beat, okay? Now, will the curriculum be the same resources for next year, or will we be supplementing? So this, if you're talking about early childhood curriculum, this is cyclical. This is the same, and you can loop, same supplies, all of those things, and you get to just enjoy it year after year. And I really do believe that it gets better year after year. I think the first year is always exciting, it's new, it's fresh, but when you get to go and do it again, you get to see those familiar activities, you get to see your children grow in that. Last year I had to help them, and now they're doing it more independently, and in 1 year you'll be amazed at how these songs and stories and recipes become tradition and become these anchors of your year. And when you're making apple cake again, it's going to be so sweet and these songs will just mean so much more to you. Okay, so those practical details. Now I would like to share some more into the future things, okay? Are we ready? So, Petipom is leaving the garden in these stories. And while this is kind of the this is the conclusion of these stories here. This is also really just the beginning. Because all of these stories, these 48 stories and the seasons of the Gnome's Wondergarten here, these are really actually 48 chapters of book 1 of the Gnomes of Wondergarten novel series that Nathaniel will be writing. So this is just the beginning. So we will get multiple books that will continue on Petipom's journey, and your children will be able to essentially grow up with Petipom on his journey as we get to see what happens beyond the garden. So while this closes, it's just book 1. Book 2 is coming, book 3 is coming, and there will be multiple books in this whole series that you will get to follow Petipom to Winter's Peak and back and see. Oh my gosh, our chat just blew up. Oh my gosh. And you will get to see his whole journey, and within that storyline, you will get to hear Puddlebloom's story, Pearl and Puddlebloom's story, and Puddlebloom's journey, Thumbkin and Rudabug's journey. You will get to hear so much more about this greater world of Wondergarten, in the garden, beyond the garden, and all of it. This is just the very, very beginning, and there is so much more to come. And yes, Eliza is coming with Petipom, so you will get to see Petipom and Eliza's adventures all the way up and see, yeah, everyone just entered the chat. Woo, mic drop, book 1 of the Gnomes of Wondergarten novel series. Now, what is so special and exciting about how these will be written, obviously this book 1 of these 48 stories that you all know and love have been written to serve the child in the age of goodness, where they are in the garden, and we have gotten to see them learn so many moral lessons of community and how to be good friends. And these stories were written to meet them where they are in this early stage of their lives. These next novels will be written to continue meeting the child where they are as they grow up with Petipom. So book 2 will be written for the 8-year-old. Book 3 will be written for the 9-year-old, and the books will slowly become more and more mature as you see Petipom begin to face things further beyond the garden, because our job as parents in the age of beauty, 7 to 14, of course, in the age of goodness, we're protecting them and instilling these, foundation of goodness in them. But from 7 to 14, by the time they're 14, it is our job to make sure they are ready for what's beyond the garden and they are ready for the world around them. And so what this will do is you will get to go through in pace of their age and development and learn the same depth of moral lessons that will meet them at that age as they're seeing their friend Petipom learn and grow beyond the garden and become, I can't want to say a man, but to grow as he goes on to this. So by Petipom mugs. So this is just the beginning, and these stories and these novels will continue in depth as your child grows. They'll continue in maturity and will continue to meet your child where they are as they grow from 7 to 14 before they enter the age of truth. So don't worry. This is just the beginning of the story. But what this does is this gives our children someone they know and love and trust. These gnomes are their friends. They've spent a year with them. So Petipom is someone that they have this connection to. So when they get to see him go beyond and face these challenges, it's going to resonate more deeply, and they're going to be able to learn those lessons in a deeper way because it's someone that they grew up with, someone that they baked apple cake with in the garden, someone that they danced in the beehive with, right? And so they will get to learn and grow with him. And then again, you'll get to learn Thumbkin's story, Rudabug, Puddlebloom, Pearl, so much more. And it'll really give much deeper context to who these characters are. Okay. Yes, all right, so there it is, friends. The mic drop moment, the big announcement that this is just in fact the very beginning, okay? So lots more to come, lots of questions that I probably won't be answering yet. I've already given you a lot. And of course, timeline for this is loose. we want to let Nathaniel really enjoy this process of exploring these stories as they begin to get more mature. But I can tell you, it's going to be really good because it's going to be really good. All right. So even while the emotions will be there, while we bid Petipom farewell, you can know that it's not the end. And I hope that will give you a little bit of solace. Harry Potter, who? Gnomes of Wondergarten, where it's at. And, I remember seeing kind of posts about how us as millennials, when we were seeing the Harry Potter books and movies come out, it was something so special about, we did kind of get to grow up with those characters because the actors were growing up through the books, and there's such a special connection with that series to our generation. And we definitely, we hope to do something similar to this generation of starting with a character from early childhood and really growing and having these come out as they grow. So lots of exciting things to come, friends, and really fun. And I can just tell you, Nathaniel is so excited to be able to get into writing these stories, and they're really going to be incredible. So, all right, and do you think these will come out this year? No, it's going to be a little while because, of course, he has to write it and then edit it and then all of that. So no timeline on this. We're going to let him take his time and enjoy. And take a breather after the audiobooks are done. We both have been on lots of deadlines for the past few years. So the novels are really going to be his passion project to be able to just pour himself in and write as creatively and freely as you want. So we're very excited. Hi, Maggie. Someone wants to say hi. Hi, Maggie. So thank you all for being here and for sharing this excitement. This was something that we've been really excited to share for a long time. And ambassadors got the little hints beforehand, but it's really exciting to share that this is just the very beginning of a really long journey, hopefully with all of you and your children, not only through the grades, but then just through their whole childhood journey as they grow up. All right. So, lots and lots to come. So another last thing before I go, as far as next year for me, next year for live streams, I will be continuing at least our seasonal planning live stream. So I will be back on August 3rd on that back to school sale day for our autumn planning, because each year the curriculum stays consistent here, but of course the calendar kind of shifts. So it's kind of hard to know how do I line up my week? So I will be back on August 3rd to go over autumn planning with you. And then you will at least see me once a season for those seasonal planning overviews where I kind of take you through the calendar, give you suggestions on how to line up your weeks based on what festivals you might be celebrating, etc. I also might hop on for maybe some discussion, some Q&As, who knows, what I might have time or energy for. So live streams aren't going away. They might not be quite as frequent as they were this year. Again, I've done 20 of these live streams in the past year. Woo! So we now have an incredible replay library full of high quality content for you to go back through for all the monthly overviews, week by week, craft overviews, all of that. So if you are newer coming in or even repeating, you will be well supported with that entire library of content. Gosh, lots of chats here. Yay! Woohoo! But you will see me in a few weeks, and then you'll at least see me once a season, if not a few more times. We'll see what we have time for. But I always really enjoy spending this time with you all, connecting with you all. It truly is our joy, and it just brings this community to life and makes it really a special place to be, and I love getting to connect with you. So thank you all for being here. This was a really fun one. Thank you for braving through the tears, but I also hope you feel really supported and prepared for how these stories end and how this season will conclude, so you can make the decision that's going to feel right for your family with context of what is coming for the future. All right, friends, thank you. Have a happy rest of your July, happy August, and I will see you soon. Hopefully you'll join me for autumn planning. Remember to mark your calendars, so August 3rd, both things that day, autumn planning and back to school sale, lots of amazing things. And keep an ear out for those audiobooks and for the release schedule of the 2-part finale of the Gnomes of Wondergarten audiobooks this year. So thank you, friends, for everything, for your support and your love and your excitement. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time.